collectively as a community, like, you know, are we actually connecting to each other? That all those things affect our health. So that's how I like to approach the topic of longevity, is through the lens of connection. I think food is, more than anything, it should be the thing that connects us to nature, to our local agriculture, to each other, to the people that we love, things like that. So I run what I call the Longevity Cooking Club, and so it's hopefully the place where we change the idea that nutrition has to be dogmatic or confusing. Because if you turn on your phone and try to look up what's the best diet to eat, you'll find every opinion. And if you dig deep enough, you'll see that there is financial interest in a lot of these opinions, or just dogma, right? It's become like a religion to be a certain way. So I'm trying to do the opposite of that, right? And so part of nutrition, or probably the main focus of nutrition, is to allow our bodies to heal, because what we eat turns into the cells that we have, or repairs the cells that we have. So it's important to eat healthy food. So instead of looking at the diet like most people do, and like they think diabetes or high blood pressure, all these things, they're like downstream stressors, right? Like these are the things that happen after we haven't been eating properly, then we end up there. Or we end up developing cancer and things like that, right? That's like the kind of the bottom of the end result of the problem of not taking care of ourselves. So what I do in this community is I organize things backwards. So we do the upstream stressors, which are chronic inflammation, for example, or mineral imbalance, or blood sugar regulation. So these things we can tackle, because I'm a chef and I coach people. I'm not a nutritionist, but I coach people on nutrition, and I work with the trailblazers. So I do private chef work for pro athletes, NFL players, UFC fighters, supermodels, and Hollywood people. And I help them because they care about their bodies so much, because they realize that without their bodies, they cannot do what they do. And so now what I try to do with everybody is to remind everybody that without our bodies, we also cannot do what we do, right? We don't have to be professional athletes or supermodels to take our health as a priority. So again, because I cannot heal people from these downstream stressors, I can definitely help people with recipes that help with the upstream stressors. So if you want to later click on this little thing, you scan the little code, you'll find a library of recipes that are organized based on these stressors. So stressors are mineral depletion, insulin load, chronic stress signaling, digestive and gut burden, also circadian rhythm eating. Like if we eat out of our circadian rhythm, then also that affects our body. It's completely different. So eating too late, intermittent fasting, there's all kinds of stuff. But recipes based on organized this way, and actually all of them kind of overlap, it makes eating healthy a lot easier. It makes it so it's not diet driven. So I don't necessarily think that everybody should be on ketosis, although some people should be on ketosis, right? So everyone's got like a different biology, and we've gone down that road some more than others. So there's a lot of healing diets, but this way it simplifies, it removes dogma, and just makes life a lot easier. So that's what I offer inside the community. So this recipe is just an example of how that works. So this is Oregon albacore, dull seaweed from the coast, and a kimchi that was made lacto fermenting 30 different ingredients. Because it is said that we are supposed to be consuming 30 different foods every week in order to have the best microbiome possible. And it's been proven. Stanford just did this really cool study that showed that lacto fermented foods lower inflammation like right away. You eat lacto fermented stuff, and like automatically all the markers go down, which is pretty crazy. So combining the two, we got 30 ingredients, and then we lacto ferment them. We have this that we can use in just about anything. So this is just an idea that we came up with a couple of days ago. Like, oh, what are we gonna do? And I was like, oh, I got this kimchi thing, and like we got albacore. I'm like, sick, that works. So we tackled those three things. So seaweed, best thing ever for mineral imbalance. So add a little seaweed, great. Lactic fermentation, gut balance, and inflammation, and clean proteins also lower inflammation. So this way, you know that this is very confusing to find recipes that are healthy, right? Because everyone's like trying to sell you something. This way, you just know a handful of ingredients, you know exactly what to make with them, and you know that it makes sense, right? So did everybody get to try this? Yeah, there's plenty, so you guys can eat as much as you want. So I just I went down this rabbit hole of blood pressure. I have an online community, it has 1,400 people in there, that's the cooking club. And somebody asked me about blood pressure. So for the last month, I've been geeking out on what that means. And what I found is, I think what most people find, which is a lot of confusion, right? There's like all kinds of stuff. There's like the A9H, and I forget what they call this special diet. But this diet recommends seed oils as one of them, which we also know that, at least also we think, it's something we shouldn't eat. So there's just so much confusion. Like even like the government is telling you to eat this, and we have the new pyramid, which is great and bad, and it's confusing, and it's just like, who knows, right? So what we try to do is we try to simplify all this information, and it's pretty basic. So like step one is we should minimize or eliminate processed foods. That makes sense, right? I think we can all agree that we did not evolve with things with brand names on them. So that's what I tell people: if it's got a brand name, don't eat it. You're probably good. Second is because into the community we have. It's pretty interesting because we have a lot of people that come in that have diabetes, or we have people that come in that have cancer, or we have people that come in that are doctors or nutritionists, or we have pro NFL players, pro European soccer players in this community. And they all got there because I have a YouTube channel. They like the content, they end up in this place. And it's really interesting because everyone's in there with the same goal, and everyone has tons of experience, and it's a free community, so everybody can go in and kind of put in their 2 cents. And I get messages like a couple weeks ago, this guy said, I lost 91 pounds in the last 3 months just by changing one thing that I saw in one of your YouTube videos. He was 391 pounds, and now he's 300 pounds, and he replaced the protein shakes that he was getting from Costco, that was his lunch. He stopped doing that, and he replaced it with a soup, like this bone broth and vegetable bag. That's the only thing he did. He lost 91 pounds in 3 months. Just crazy. And I got a picture the other day from a truck driver, and he had sardines and kimchi on his dashboard. And he's like, no more crappy food for me. You know, and it's like, it's really fun because this place is like all people that are trying to get to this, you know, ideal, healthy, energized body. So yeah, that's kind of what I do. And before I keep going, I'll take questions if you guys have any questions or comments so far. So I do a little bit of traveling cooking for pro athletes because I have athletes that I used to be their full-time chef, and now they're friends. But I'm trying not to cook for people. I cook for my children. I have 3 kids. We cook together every day for my wife. And I'm just growing a YouTube channel. This YouTube channel is called Longevity Kitchen. And that's like, it's about food and how food is healthy. But what's interesting about it is that I've had a bunch of different businesses before this. And what I've been preaching forever is small-scale food systems, like empowering our communities through supporting local agriculture. And I had a business where I was teaching parents to cook with their children, because if we have a strong relationship with our children, then essentially all the problems on planet Earth go away. So those were my businesses. And it turns out that no one wants to buy these things, right? Everybody says that. Everyone thinks that they care about these things, but everybody is busy with their jobs. And so it wasn't a business. So now I changed the storefront of my store, and now it's a longevity store. The ones that walk into the store, I'm preaching the same things, right? Because all of them are actually connected. And that's the beauty of food, is that some people need to hear nutrition science to believe that food will help them, right? Some people, like me, like I'm more of a hippie, so I want to hear that connection with my children is going to keep me more healthy. And there's truth in that. There's truth in all these different things. So inside of the store, which my store is my YouTube channel, I sell longevity, but through connection, through getting to know your local farmer, like the guy that I buy raw milk from. His name's Paul, and I go, hey, what's up, Paul? When I pick up my milk twice a week, and he goes, what's up, Andre? So he knows my name, so I trust him with my raw milk because he's my homie. And I get a health benefit from the raw milk, but also from my relationship with Paul. Now he's giving me eggs too. So that's what you'll find in his channel. It's just like very hippie, but it's also very cinematic. I'm also a filmmaker. So I try to tell beautiful stories because humans are just animals that tell stories and believe stories, right? And if enough of us believe in a story, then it becomes true. Like the story that there's a border between Mexico and the US, and that's a story, but people believed it, and so in my channel, and the work that I do is I'm telling this story of we need each other and our health because we're all selfish. Right? If you want the best health, go knock on your neighbor's door and hope that you can help them next time they need something. It's funny because you actually do get help from doing that. So there's like a way to kind of bring everything together through food because my inspiration in food, the reason why I became a chef is because my grandma, who is 100 years old today, she's going to be 101 in March, and she's in perfect shape other than she's losing muscle and her bones are kind of fragile, but she goes up and down the stairs every day. Her brain's 100%, her heart's 100%, everything. Her body is like perfect, she's 100. And when I talk to her about longevity, and I'm like, what's your diet? And she's like, what is diet? And she has no idea what that means. Like, did you ever do carnivore? And she's like, what? And she's never been to a gym. She's never done sauna or all these things that like are great. I love ice baths. They're awesome. But I understand that somebody's trying to sell me something. And my grandma just says like, just live your life and eat food and love everyone around you. And you'll get to be 100. Don't think about diet. So I have a weird business in which I get people in through nutrition, and then I tell them like, stop listening to the experts of nutrition and listen to your own body because your own body is telling you what you need to be. And it's pretty basic. Like I coach them to do this thing called Time Food, Time Mood. It's a little journal. You write down the time you eat something, and then the food that you ate, and an hour later, write down the time and how you feel. So track your energy levels. If you feel more tired, then that food wasn't the best. If you feel more energy, that's great. If you get bloated, that food is not good. And then you fine tune. Then you reconnect to your own body. You understand that your body knows. You don't need Harvard to give us a study. It's cool. It's very cool. All that geeky stuff is super fun. But our health really should not be outsourced. We can do it. And it's essentially removing food that has a brand on it and reconnecting with our body through that. And then developing a relationship with food. So another thing I preach a lot is lactic fermentation because A, really genuinely is the best thing we can do for lowering inflammation. But also it's a great tool to have a relationship with food because you're gonna start this fermentation and it could grow south, it could grow old, but it doesn't if you pay attention to it. So you have it in your counter, you see it, and then the next day it's bubbling out. It's like a little baby. It's like growing a plant too, right? Like I grow citrus now. I have all these hybrid Japanese lemons. And it's really fun because I see them grow. I started olives too, so now I'm seeing olives and these are like my babies. And that relationship, I think, is what our culture is missing so much, right? So we just go to the store and buy crap because we're in a hurry to go do the next thing. So I'm trying to tackle all the different angles, and it's really fun. So it's a free community. If anybody wants to go check it out, it's super fun. It's just a bunch of people that love food, and everyone's there helping each other out. Yeah, so this is a third. Kimchi is like a cultural word, right? But essentially, it's like the fermentation of napa cabbage with gochugaru and fish sauce, whatever, salt and shrimp. So this is not, and sauerkraut is more of an Eastern European thing, but this one is kind of a combination of both. but using kind of the regular cabbage and not the Napa cabbage. But it's got everything. It's got flowers in there. It's got calendula, which is super good for soothing the stomach lining. It's got a lot of stuff. I have a YouTube video about it. And it's really fun, so I super recommend fermentation for everybody. Yeah, I think we got a couple minutes if you guys want to ask a question. Or I can keep talking. Yeah, that's a really good question. So that's one of the reasons why the new food pyramid, to me, is not the perfect pyramid, is because they kind of say that grapes are bad. Grapes are bad if they're grown the way that we grow them commercially. That's terrible. We've got nasty chemicals, the soil has no nutrition at all. We're using seeds that have almost no nutrition. They're not seeds that we've been growing forever. So what we grow now as flour is not what we've been consuming this flour forever. It's like something, it's not good. If you get wheat berries from Camas Country and Eugene, right? These are like some hippie people that love their land. They're growing the highest quality wheat berries you can get. And then you can process that yourself, you can grind them out yourself. And so that way you're not separating all the germ and all the things that where all the nutrition is, all the natural oils, that's where most of the nutrition is. If you buy flour from the store, it's going to be a dead food, right? You have to kill everything in it in order to put it on the shelf. It's not the best. If that's the only thing we have access to, then the best thing we can do is combine bacteria in yeast for the fermentation. And that's what sourdough bread is. All the bread at the store, A, is terrible. It's like it's grown in a horrible way. It's stripped of everything that's good. And then they add things like the same chemical that they make the soles for my shoes. That same chemical is in most bread that you buy at the store because it makes it fluffy, it makes it last. So the problem with grains is like, if you buy food at the store, like just pretty much know that everything in there, like they're trying to cheat the system. It's not going to be real for the most part. Of course, I'm jaded and I'm very biased, but buying local wheat berries, grinding them up yourself, fermenting them yourself, I think it's great. I've done tests where I'm on ketone. You use a ketone monitor in one arm and a glucose monitor in the other one. If I eat like carbon bread at the store, the glucose spike is like through the roof. And if I eat sourdough bread, barely serious. And that's because bacteria and yeast do the pre-digesting for you. So they're taking out all of that stuff, or all the things that your body cannot digest quickly, and then you have a product that your body can digest. So I love sourdough bread. I think it's incredible. That's what I love it. Yeah, so that answer. Cool. Last question? No? Okay. That's it.
It'll be followed up by Dr. Alexandra Leeper and John Schmidt. And after those two, we will be finishing off these lightning round conversations with a presentation by Tom Covenese. So enjoy, everybody. I'm going to take a break. I'm going to get some food, and we'll just let the presenters kind of pass the mic off to each other as they complete.
Thank you, Tyson. I'm going to take a seat, get a little comfortable. Like Tyson said, my name is Evan Fralick. I work at Aqua DC. based in Juneau, Alaska, with offices in Seattle and in Washington, D.C. as well. To give you a little bit of background of who I am and why I'm up here, I worked in Washington, D.C. for a little over a decade on ocean policy, and mostly for the Alaska Congressional Delegation, but really across Congress as well. And then after that, I moved to Alaska and worked for a couple of governors. And after, I founded Aqua DC, where I'm at now, to help navigate the policy space. Whether you're a fisherman, whether you're an ocean cluster practitioner, whether you are a mariculture farmer, really figuring out ways to engage with your state policymakers. And through that work, I did a project with something I helped found called the Ocean Innovation Network, where we went around the country in 2021 and 2022 and talked to people who are doing really blue economy work. We did that in the Gulf of Mexico. We did that, or some people are calling the Gulf of America right now. We did that in New England. We did that in the Pacific Northwest and Alaska, and we did it in California. And we came away with some concepts that I can loosely share with you now, and I'm happy to talk further with anybody about what the blue economy was, right? There's the term ocean economy, which is really any economic output from the ocean that can include things that are, wide ranging, right? It can be anything. Whereas the blue economy, we honed in on definitions about really attaching it to the World Bank and the World Economic Forum definitions, which includes sustainability, right? Long-term, locally led, sustainable investment into the ocean economy. So there is a differentiation between those two terms. And blue economy practitioners here domestically have noted that really they are unable to survive without some form of government investment, right? Whether that is municipal and local governments, whether that's state governments, whether that's federal government. There has to be some form of partnership and buy-in from your government entities. You can look around the country and see clusters popping up. Ocean clusters, that's another term, right, for blue economy practitioners who come together to do their work. And you can see ocean clusters popping up around the country, whether that's in New England, where there are multiple clusters, whether that's along the Pacific coast, that there's clusters in Florida of people doing blue economy work at scale and in partnership with one another across industries. You can look all the way up to Alaska, where there's multiple clusters, and right here in Oregon, there is cluster work being done by some of the folks putting this event on here today. But where you see the most success is in places where the government has invested. Right? You've had some government investment here in Oregon, but a place where you can look just to the north, where they've had significant government investment, is in Washington State. Right? Washington State has an organization called Washington Maritime Blue, which Governor Inslee helped to found, and Joshua Berger, who is also the founder of Washington Maritime Blue, was at the Department of Commerce as the Maritime Sector Lead under Governor Inslee. Through that investment, they have spun out an organization that is now living on into the future, into the next governorship, and is growing. There's companies here who have gone through Washington Maritime Blue's startup accelerators, and they have really grown into partnerships around the country, right? I was at One Ocean Week with other folks here in the audience at the end of last year that brought together folks from Norway, that brought together folks from Iceland, that brought together folks from around the country who are doing ocean cluster and blue economy work. And really, one of the key things that came out of that conference and that has come out of my work overall is the need for policy engagement, right? Whether that's policy at your state level, and we don't have any Oregon legislators here right now because they're actually in session talking about policy at this very moment, some of which is ocean policy. And this need for us to coalesce around asks and needs that our governments can provide, right? One of the most important ones would be the federal government. Right now, I think there's some conversations to be had about how we engage with the federal government and what's effective and what's worth our time. But there are things that your state governments can be doing right now, and there's a whole list of things that can be done. I can touch on a couple of them here before I run out of time. But my partner, Mike Conathan from Upload Collaborative, and I have been putting together what we call a policy toolkit for state legislatures, and I would encourage anybody to come find me. Also, I will be in the, forget what it is, the breakout conference room over here to my right after lunch to talk a little bit more in depth with Marcus on some of this stuff. But there's a policy toolkit that ranges from things like letters that your state legislatures can put together from champion members in your legislature that can be to your state government executive or to the federal government supporting action on the blue economy and on ocean clusters. It can be authorizing language to create task forces to socialize the blue economy and create your state's priorities. It can be funding measures, which the Oregon legislature has successfully gotten through on specific endeavors within the blue economy, whether that's 100% fish utilization, whether that's mariculture investment, whether that's micro seafood processing in your state, whatever those priorities are. And then there's also authorizing legislation like they've had in Washington to create an actual blue economy collaborative collective like Washington Maritime Blue, or the Oregon Ocean Cluster, or the Alaska Ocean Cluster, right? And they're the toolbox, like I would be happy to share with any of you guys, is a really good opportunity to kind of have a bit of a buffet, like we're eating lunch here, of options to choose from wherever you think your state can start, and then build from there, right? And the task force idea, like they're doing in Maine right now, they're undertaking a task force which has been really exciting. It's coming out with actual suggestions that will likely lead to some form of legislation or executive action by their government, right? And so that year that they've had to socialize blue economy, ocean economy priorities, but really blue economy priorities that we're all here to talk about, is going to lead to something. In Alaska, similarly, the governor has undertaken a mariculture task force, because really in Alaska that's bubbling up as the key priority in the blue economy, where we have opportunity to collaborate bipartisanly and across the state, and hopefully that will also lead to legislative action in the future. So yeah, I'm going to kind of stop there, and I'll have more to talk about during our session in a little less than an hour, but I'll pass it on to Dr. Alexandra Lieber from the Iceland Ocean Cluster. Thanks for having me.
It's very loud up here at the front. Good afternoon. I'm going to stand because I'm a short ass. So Susie, I know, is in charge of my slides. So thank you so much for the opportunity to come and speak to you all again. I had the very great pleasure of speaking at the Lunch and Learn last year at the very first ever Blue Foods Forum, and I have to say I left buzzing with excitement and going back to Iceland and taking all these amazing Oregon entrepreneurial and Portland energy with me. And last year I dove a little bit into the Iceland Ocean Cluster, who we are and what we do, and our flagship program, which is called 100% Fish. You've heard a lot of people actually using it today as well. So this is the idea of not losing or wasting any of the precious seafood that we catch on farm, but instead finding sustainable, thoughtful, and importantly, value-creating ways to use every part of our fish and shellfish. So not just the fillet and the meats, but the heads, the skins, the bones, the guts, the shells, everything. And so I wanted to use my opportunity and platform today to actually rather talk to you specifically just about Iceland, take you on a little bit of a whistle-stop tour around the world, because not everywhere is like Iceland, not every fish is like Atlantic cod, our key species. This is really a global movement. There's so much exciting stuff going on, and picking which bits to tell you was a bit tricky. So, can I have the next slide, please? Thank you. So this, just to quickly give you a brief introduction for those of you that haven't met me before, this is the Iceland Ocean Cluster House. If anyone asks, the weather is always like this. Come to Iceland, it will be sunny. It's actually our 15-year birthday this year, and the house, and the community, and the cluster as a whole was really founded to bring people together so great ideas can happen. We've even been dubbed the Silicon Valley of Fish, which was super exciting because I went to San Francisco for the first time last week to see the original Silicon Valley. And what we're really trying to do is bring these groups together, the innovators, the research, the industry, so that we can address some of the biggest challenges that our ocean faces. Next slide, please. And one of these big challenges is that we know we lose and waste more than 23 million metric tons of edible quality aquatic food. So this is an annual figure, it's a global figure, and it's loss and waste that's happening all along the supply chain. And this is a huge amount of volume that not only, of course, is environmentally impactful, but it is economically wasteful as well. And historically, this was certainly the pattern in Iceland too, where we were just taking the fillet of the Atlantic cod, so about 45% of the weight of every fish, and the rest was going to landfill or out to the oceans. But now, next slide please, with collaboration between innovators, the research community, really very much with the industry and the investment community, we've gone from using just that fillet to using more than 90% of every single fish. So the heads, the skins, the bones, the guts, the bloods, the eyes, everything that you can imagine to do. And this really wasn't an overnight success, and it was really a huge reimagining of the blue economy. But I wanted to give like a very quick overview of what does that look like with Atlantic cod as a model species for context. You can put the next slide, please. Because it's everything from improving the quality of the original fillet itself and its yield, but also looking at what else can take place. What's a low-hanging fruit? Like now the heads are taken and dried and shipped to Nigeria, where there's a big food culture around dried fish heads. The cod livers are cold pressed into cod liver oils and encapsulated, increasing the value about 4 times. The fish skins are used in fish skin leathers, really building on a traditional industry and reimagining it. You see a lot of examples of that here today, which is amazing. But then they're going into high-end fashion products and bringing in the fashion industry and the textile industry, with companies like Gucci, Nike, Puma really engaging in these materials, all the way through to more complicated ideas like taking the fish skins and processing them for collagen peptides. These can be used in cosmetics, in nutritional supplements, and even in Iceland's most popular energy drink. And I believe there might be some of those energy drinks here today. I don't know if Maggie, that you know there's a big collab around. Maybe. If you're lucky, there might be some. There is. Okay. Please, if you get the chance to try collab, do so. But all the way through to ideas like taking the enzymes from the gut of the Atlantic cod to using cold pre-treatment sprays and skincare, and all the way through even to companies that are using the Atlantic cod skin into skin grafts and wound dressings for burns and diabetic sores. And this particular company called Kerecis, they are a really exciting company in Iceland because they started as a tiny startup in a village in the West Fjords, and they have grown actually to be Iceland's first unicorn. They developed these skin grafts, it's FDA approved, it was a long process. And in 2023, this tiny company that started in a small fishing village, it sold for $1.3 billion US. It's totally transformed the way that people think about waste, because how can anything possibly waste if it can be worth so much like this? And what it's also done is diversified all the different types of people and perspectives and ideas and skills in the blue economy. It's not just fish and fish processing, it's a little bit of everything else: cosmetics, fashion, biomedicine, etc. Next slide, please. And what it's meant for the economy is that an Atlantic cod that was once worth about $12 US for just the fillets now has a potential value. And we think about all these different ways that we can create products from every part of the fish. Next slide, please. Maybe. Thank you. It now has a potential value of almost $5,000 US. So yeah, exactly. But like I said, not everywhere is like Iceland, not every fish is like Atlantic cod, but there are amazing things going on around the world that I want to share with you. Next slide, please. It was actually really difficult to think about which ones to share with you because there's so much going on around the world in really different contexts with really different fish species, and so many I could tell you about. For example, in New Zealand, they're using mussel oil into anti-inflammatory products. There's a company in North America called Salmonix that's using salmon blood as a blood clotting agent. There are, well, my favorite one in Australia, they have a marine collagen wine. It's a good reason for me to keep visiting. There are companies in Korea using oyster shells into beautiful ceramics equipment. Just to name a few, and it's really the possibilities are endless, but I wanted to dive in specifically into some examples that have really been driven by partnerships and collaborations. And next slide, please. Where better to start? Than here in Oregon, because I've had the pleasure of coming here for a couple of years now, and every time I come here I see more and more that's going on in this space of full utilization and 100% fish thinking, and with the Oregon Ocean Cluster and so many of the wonderful people here today of what is possible and what's being created. And I have to say it was a really big highlight for me last night, because I saw one of the companies that are doing these lovely fish skin leather fish and stickers. And I think about a year and a half ago, I met Mark, the gentleman that is behind some of this, and he just literally got a piece of fish skin and he was trying it out, tanning in his son's yak farm just to see if it would work. And now they have a whole product range, which is amazing. I can see Darlene at the front there with Local Ocean and all the amazing products that I think you might be 3 people rather than 1, I don't know, but creating everything from using the fish skin from restaurants into dog treats, into fish stocks and all kinds of interesting products, so go and have a look at this. But also everywhere I go, this is my little personal hobby, I love to see what's on sale in the stores that's full utilization. But there's companies that are doing biochar, for example, and soil enrichment, there's fish meal and oil, there's companies like Solfisker, I know Ellen's around somewhere, but there you go, using them into jewelry, and there's even things like marine collagen being sold in stores in Corvallis, and fish jerky being sold at PDX Airport. That was very cool to see on my way home last time. And if you could, next slide please. Because I'm going to zip you all the way over to Greenland. I have no watch on, by the way, so you can just tell me to stop when I'm out of time. So in Greenland, I know this is a hot topic here, but for me it's a hot topic right now for the shrimp sector. So we work really closely with Royal Greenland. This is the world's biggest cold water shrimp fishery. And what they're trying to do is a really interesting context, because they have fish processing facilities in loads of really remote fishing communities. There are no roads in Greenland, the logistics are complicated. So we're working with them to understand how do they need to dry and prepare their shrimp shells so they can go to shrimp meal, but also so that they can be shipped to Iceland to work with a company called Primex that are turning them into chitosan, which has tons of really interesting applications in food and dietary supplements, in cosmetics and skincare, and even in biomedicine. And what's really interesting here is that we're getting to go behind the scenes of these big commercial companies to understand what are some of those cultural conversations and things that need to happen to actually make change happen and stick. So this is an exciting one. If you could go to the next slide. In some of the groups that we're working with in the Pacific, they're really diving into the tuna sector, and this is a bit small, so I'm happy to send my slides afterwards, but they're exploring what are all the different potential nutritional and functional properties of every part of the tuna fish. What could it therefore be used for? What products might be developed? And there's amazing teams like BlueX and BlueX Ventures that are trying to team up with young entrepreneurs that are creating value from every part of the tuna. There's a group in Fiji, for example, that have set up a facility, they're called Carbon Earth, that are creating fertilizers and soil enrichment from tuna cutoffs. There's groups in Kiribati, which is a really small island in the Pacific, but its ocean area is huge. They call themselves the tuna capital of the world, and they're producing cat and dog treats from tuna, and then really exploring further value scale-up opportunities to create those value chains for the local community. Next slide, please. Where are we going in the world now? Namibia. So Namibia is our first sister ocean cluster in Africa. They have an amazing and large-scale hake industry, and there they've got the industry partners to team up really closely with the research community, and they are looking at impact investing to fund the development of collagen peptide plants from the hake skin and also hake liver oil. So it's a really exciting time for this new sector in Namibia that's focused on local value creation. And last one, so I know Tyson said John is coming. He has in fact come all the way from Chicago to Portland, but is stuck in his hotel room with COVID, so unfortunately. So I'm just going to say a little bit on his behalf, because the Great Lakes and RS Governors and Premiers are an amazing group. They work across the US and Canada. We've been working with them for about 4 or 5 years, really trying to understand everything from where are different cutoffs occurring, what species are there, what the supply chains look like, what are all the different functional properties of those fish, and how could they be used to develop products. Because when we first started working with this team, there was about, many of the fish, only about 35% of the biomass was being used from this really diverse fishery. And now, the Great Lakes and Orange governors and premiers have mobilized more than $600,000 of investments to drive product development into fertilizers, into fish protein hydrolysates from the heads of these fish, into looking at collagen from the scales, into fish skin leather, and a huge array of other developments. They're constantly doing stuff, and I have to say the most inspiring thing I think they've done is they've developed this 100% Great Lakes fish pledge that 90% of the producers in the Great Lakes on both the US and the Canadian side have signed to agree to collaborate with one another to find more ways to create value and less waste in their fishery sector there. So it's super exciting. They have all their resources online of everything and how all the steps they've done to do this. So I hope you get to meet John next time. So that was my little spiel on his behalf. And thank you very much for the chance to catch you up on the world of hunter fish. I'm introducing Tom to come up next. I want to say from Oregon Kelp Alliance.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. Cheers.
Sorry for the excitement. I'm fine. Yes, thank you. Tom Calhoun's here with the Oregon Kelp Alliance, and I'm going to be talking to you about the Oregon Kelp Alliance, but before I do, I'm just going to take a moment to share. Some of you may know the man on the screen, Aaron Longton, commercial fisherman from Port Orford, who sadly met his untimely demise a few weeks ago in an accident. A huge loss to our community. Thank you. A huge loss to our community and a huge loss to this group. But I really don't have time to go into all the ways that Aaron really fits into this room and should actually be here right now. But I want to leave you with something I think Aaron would appreciate, which is as we talk about Blue Foods, I think Aaron would want us to remember all of the hands that food passes through on its way to your plate. From the fishermen to the handlers, the deckhands, the truck drivers, the processors, the chefs, the food service folks. And to make sure that we remember to make sure that all of those people are treated fairly in the markets, are treated fairly in the prices that we pay for their products, and are treated fairly in the wages that we pay them to do their work. Because in the end, Aaron was at heart a working man. He was a working fisherman, and he was here as a champion of working people across the entire Blue Food spectrum. And like I said, I could say much more about Aaron, but mostly I just wish he was here. Yeah. Give Aaron. Thank you very much. Aaron. Long live Aaron Longton. Absolutely. Thank you. Okay, now here's what I'm here to talk about. The Oregon Kelp Alliance. This talk is going to focus on Orca in action, and the reason for that is that we're an action-based organization, and I also hope that you had a chance to meet my colleagues, Carl Hendrickson, who's standing over there, and Carolyn McKinnon, who's somewhere back there with the urchins. And how many of you guys got to hold an urchin for the first time yesterday? Sweet. Thanks for bringing our little friend critters. They're our friends, they're not our enemies. But I'm going to mostly talk about the actions that we're taking with regard to kelp forests in Oregon. Next slide. Again, we're an action-based organization, really emerged out of a community in response to a rapidly changing ecosystem in our kelp forests in Oregon. We come from many different places, but we meet in a place of passion for the healthy kelp forest here in Oregon. Next slide. What's the crisis? The crisis is that we published a report in 2024 that showed after surveying the entire coast of Oregon that we've lost 70% of our kelp forests in Oregon between 2010 and 2022. That is a massive loss. And there's much more to say about that, but if you're interested in the details, please take a look at the status report. It's on our website at OregonKelp.com, and you can learn everything and probably more than you want to know about what's happening to our kelp forests in Oregon. Next slide. So who are we? Well, some of the people I just mentioned, but really, again, coming from so many different places. We're divers, we're fishermen, We're scientists, we're managers, we're just people working together on this problem. Many of them are in this photo, and a lot of different organizations working together to try to address this issue. Next slide. I'm particularly pleased to share with you that we're working directly with tribal members that have come forward and said, you know what, we want to be a part of this too. But you know what, we could use some help with scuba dive training and equipment and support. So our first cohort is going through their training right now with members of the Coppell and the Siti tribes, actively engaging and learning how to actively work in their kelp forests and do kelp forest stewardship. And I just want to give a shout out to Kara during your talk. The thing you said about your vision of the puzzle box of a healthy kelp forest. That's the vision we're fighting for. That's the vision we're working towards. And also, for those of you who didn't hear about it, I'm really glad you talked about the Kelp Highway, because I think that's a really important part of the history of kelp forest here in Oregon and all along the Eastern Pacific coast. Next slide. So what are we doing? We're launching the Oregon Kelp Forest Stewardship Initiative. This is an ecosystem-based initiative that's directed directly at the problem at 6 sites along the Oregon coast. Next slide. So again, what is it? It's a NOAA-funded project. Thanks to our congressional delegation that was able to secure the funding for this project. We have $2.5 million to support this work, starting last May and going until next July. And we're doing it at these 6 sites. All were identified by community members in each of those communities. Like, we have a problem here and here and here and here. And so that's where we're doing our work. Next slide. Sorry, I keep looking at what order did I put these in? Go back. So we're using 3 approaches. Obviously, you've heard a lot about urchins. We need to control urchins. They're out of control. They're eating a lot of kelp. They're not the enemy. There's just too many of them. Then we need to get out there and plant kelp, because kelp grows from spores or little tiny seeds, and we need those seeds to start with kelp. And then we've got this major player, this predator that eats urchins and actually has a really powerful effect on them just by being there. And so we're helping them return to their rightful place in that system. Next slide. So what did we do this last year between May and September? We had divers go out to 3 of those sites and remove over 360,000 urchins from those 3 sites. Then we went, next slide. Then we went out and planted kelp on these platforms that we suspend above the bottom, and I'm going to show you a little video in a second. We had 60 of them grow to adulthood and reproductive maturity and release millions of spores at 2 of our sites. Next slide. And we have a team working on restoring the Pycnopodia sea star, the sunflower sea star, to those sites, and we released 24 of them into one of our sites at Ellie's Cove. Next slide. Oh, here's the cool little video of that kelp platform that I was talking about. And you're going from the surface, now you're going below the surface, and if you can see it, you can see that all the little baby fish are already showing up. They see, oh, this is home. I like this habitat. I want to go in there and hang out. And then those kelps are suspended on this platform, which is up off the bottom, out of reach of the urchins. And you'll see as we get down to the bottom, and I think, Carl, you did this video, didn't you?
Yeah.
You see here at the bottom, yeah, there's the urchins. They can't get to the kelp, which is good for that kelp, because now it can grow to adulthood, release spores, and we're already seeing baby kelps growing there. Next slide. Then in Macklin Cove and on the south site in Brookings, we did the same thing. We removed urchins, put out the spores of kelp, and you can see in September there was no kelp there. September 23, there was no kelp there. September 25, suddenly we're seeing kelp restored to the system in the wild, and that's what we're looking for. So we're already seeing success just in the first few months of the project. Really exciting. We're going to keep it up for the next year and a half at least. Next slide. The other project we're working on is a restorative mariculture with bull kelp. And so here we're focusing on growing kelp in the ocean. And next slide. To produce a variety of materials. You've heard a lot about these different products that we can make from kelp. That's our goal. Part of our goal is also to produce more kelp spores that we can use in our restoration work. So trying to bring it all full circle. Next slide. And we're working with our community, working with local fishermen to help us build these moorings and get them out of the ocean. They'll be helping us with the cultivation of the kelp and the harvest, etc. Next slide. And the other thing we're doing is we're doing this without plastic. If you visited our table over there, you saw some natural materials in terms of fibers and ropes and wooden buoys, glass floats, metal. We're going to just do this without using plastic. We think there's enough plastic in the ocean. We can do this without plastic. They did it many, many years. People have been working at sea without plastic. So that's what we're doing. And we're, stay tuned. We're going to see how that works out. Next slide. And of course, you can't do this without everybody's help, including your help. Thanks just for being here, because you are supporting us, because part of the proceeds are being donated to Orca. So thank you very much for that. And then next slide. And I just want to leave you with some thoughts, because I can't talk about Port Orford. I can't come from Port Orford without talking about what's going on in Port Orford around on the infrastructure side of the Blue Foods economy. Next slide. So the port is involved in a working waterfront revitalization initiative. Speaking of investments that we heard about earlier, state investments in new cranes, federal investments in strengthening Dock Road, and a seawater system funded by the state, just about to get put in place. It's being bid out right now. If you know someone who knows how to do that, tell them to bid on that project. It's a $500,000 bid project. And next slide. And finally, a seafood hub that we hope to build in Port Orford to house all of this activity, including many of the things we've been talking about, where commercial enterprises and retail and community and education and all of these opportunities can be housed in one place, and welcome the community into this whole world to work with us on these solutions in our community. And I'm happy to report that NOAA published their National Seafood Strategy Implementation Plan last year, and this project is a pilot for the nation. And so we hope to live up to that pilot pre-reputation, I'll call it, and stay tuned on that. And next slide. And finally, we formed a fishermen's cooperative last summer, and we are now selling our seafood and other seafood products directly to consumers on our dock, and hopefully we'll be doing it in a cooperatively operated seafood market in the seafood hub when it's built. But I can tell you that this is already hugely successful. People really want to buy their fish from their fishermen. And we're showing that. People are driving from all over the place. People are coming to Port Orford from Medford, I think some people drove down from here, from Portland. So I think the message is, people want this, and if we can get the support and we can take this action and present these opportunities, I think people are responding, and that's the most exciting part to me, and very, very encouraging. And I think with that, that's just a picture of me with a red sea urchin. And that's all I have. Thank you. Last slide.
Oh wow, how was that lunch? Yeah? Yeah, give it up for and for all the panelists, those were all very inspiring and thoughtful conversations, and this is like, I don't know, I probably spend 70%, if not more, of my time in my work sitting behind a computer, sending emails, doing Zoom calls, staring at a screen, and this is like what fills my cup and keeps me going to do my work. This other 30%, meeting you all, hearing these inspiring conversations. So can we give one last round of applause for all those panelists? Up next, we'll allow ourselves to move into kind of the breakout conversations that we have set up. I believe we have 4 conversations still set up. Yep. So I'll tell you about those conversations. We'll help point you in the right direction of where those conversations are going to be. And then there's at least one other person in this room. If you plan on having a breakout group that you want to start yourself, can you raise your hand for me real quick? Okay, I've got 2. All right, so once I'm done giving this presentation about these, can you both come up here and talk about what you wanna, the subject of your roundtable? Introduce that. Okay. And there we go. I looked at notes this time. What I'm talking about is on a slide, so I can actually look behind me as well. So 4 different conversations. We'll have one on advancing blue foods in Oregon, 100% fish and beyond. And that's going to be facilitated by Sherry and Jessica with OSU. And that conversation looks like what does it take to get new ideas from value-added blue foods, 100% fish products into action and onto the retail shelves. So we'll talk more about that, sharing good ideas, initiatives, areas for collaboration. And where will that one be, Lene?
Right here.
That'll be right up here in the front, kind of by Mike and Aaron Domeyer, is where that conversation will be taking place. Second conversation will be what the fish got to do with it. Fish to Field with OSU, local farms, Dr. Ford Evans, Dr. James Fox, also with OSU, will be leading that conversation. And we'll be able to chat with them about, with farmers, ranchers across Oregon, learn about the further plan out of the proposed Fish to Field project and initiatives that we're looking at there. So getting seafood into fields. Cool. And actually, I forgot my little bottle. I have a sample of some like fish hydrolysis making fertilizer out of fish that I want to share at that meeting, so I'm happy to be a part of that group. Looking forward to it. Where will that one be, Lene?
Very back left corner.
Very back. Oh, so the table's all the way in the back on the other end?
Yep.
Yep, tables in the very back of the halls where that conversation will be taking place. Ephraim will again be talking, we'll be doing a policy deep dive with Rick Osborne.
Marcus Hins now.
Huh?
It's Marcus Hins now.
Oh, with Marcus, yes, with Marcus Hintz. And that will be taking place through these doors. We'll kick these doors open, and right behind this wall is a conference room, and that's where that conversation will be taking place. And then we'll do the intersections of art and science, and that's going to be taking place with Duncan Berry, and that will be...
Yeah, on the, where all the
that'll be, okay, yeah, you can see a lot of it, just jumping up and down and waving your arms. It's kind of in that little alcove where we did seafood to school conversation, ate those great meatballs. So that'll be in that section. And in that process, you'll learn more about fish printing. That's what it is, of course, with Duncan. So anybody interested in the art of fish printing, which is absolutely fascinating on how it takes place, if you're into art, check that one out. It's going to be great. Okay. 2 other people said they would like to have breakout roundtables, and you're up front, so I'm going to pass this one off.
Hi, so I wanted to give...
I am looking for the yak farmers. Where are the yak farmers? Come on up. So our group was talking about kind of the utilization of products outside of like food, but other products and other uses, agriculture, thinking about those things. Take it away, Dan.
Cool. I got a little bit of notes I took from Alicia, but yeah, we talked about looking at different ways of using side streams, especially fish like shad that are, just a resource that's hard to use in the food industry, but looking at these different options for getting this to farmers. I'm a rancher, obviously working with this. A lot of fishing producers are looking for ways to get side streams to people, and it seems like Oregon State University and a couple other organizations are trying to figure out how to be able to get this to farmers from these fishing producers. Definitely a lot of challenges. It seems like the economics is really the hard part. It's comparing. For one thing, there's not a lot of data on this kind of alternative use of fertilizers from these side streams, and so I think that Oregon State is trying to do some of that and build some more data so that people can work and actually look at how it compares to using conventional methods. Anything else I want to ask?
What's the name of that magazine?
Oh, Acres.
Acres
Magazine. It's talking about this stuff. So I think that was a great thing that people suggested. Go look at that Acres Magazine, especially for farmers. So I'm going to give you a subscription.
And biochar. I think biochar is like a cure-all for a lot of things.
Yeah, so I think we're gonna. Hopefully, we're maybe before we'll do some experiments at our farm and other farms.
Yeah. Looking forward to, we already have ideas around potential collaboration, if nothing else, just sharing information that's already on the table. So hopefully some collaborative fundraising as well. Okay, who is our representative for the Advancing Blue Foods in Oregon 100% Fish and Beyond?
Come on down.
So the folks that were in our group, please keep me honest. It's a little bit troublesome to speak for people, right? I got the mic. My mic sounds nice. I brought giant Post-it notes because that's what I like to do. And so, really briefly, and again, my teammates can keep me honest. For the 100% fish and beyond, we would ask what's working. We asked what the barriers were, and then we wanted to try to get to what the top three things are that we could move forward with. So, really high level. There was an idea to frame how to organize the supply chain. Really looking at the supply chain for folks that are between the artisan level and large. So looking at the middle of the supply chain, basically. Aaron, did I get that right? See, no good deed goes unpunished, so we'll get picked on. Okay. The other thing we talked about that we could move forward with is just aggregating resources of all kinds, grants, knowledge base, and I think this is a way to aggregate resources and move forward. But that was another idea that we thought we could move forward with. And there was a need for reinforcing the need for a process authority. And for those of you who don't know what that is, that's a person that says if your food process is okay for making the food safe, so you can sell it to the public. So there was a piece around that. Did I miss anything, team? Team, what are we calling this 100% vision?
I just want to add that. Sorry, big voice.
Hi, everybody. I think I would add on with our first problem statement that there's an opportunity for us to centralize our grant work and our funding so that some of these other conversations become part of a more holistic approach to the Oregon coast seafood. And so we talked about maybe a working group with several of the key stakeholders, kind of comparing notes about how grants could kind of coalesce into a more holistic seafood solution.
Thank you.
Awesome, great work, you guys. And looking forward to seeing some of the notes from those conversations. Each of our groups should have a facilitator or a note taker at it. I think Alicia was on our group, so just shout out to the note takers, trying to capture all these really kind of rich, robust conversations that we're having so we can follow up with them later. Policy deep dive. Really interested to hear about how that conversation went and what it looked like. Who's a part of the policy conversation and is going to share out with us on that one?
The reluctant.
Thank you.
So, as a note taker extraordinaire, I pulled like two big takeaways to share with the group.
more to go. Who wants to talk about the art conversation, fish printing, what happened there, and yeah, what kind of conversation came up while you were all enjoying that process?
I tried to bring it to you.
That was a beautiful class you all missed. We learned about where art meets science, but that was not really what we learned. We learned about where art meets heart and where art meets poetry and the witnessing of the nonverbal parts of ourselves. And it was just a really beautiful gift to be in that class and learn about what the impressions of the sea, what they're teaching us. So we learned a little bit about process and poetry and process, but it was really about our observing of the other, kind of getting out of our heads and more turning inward and looking at the life that is feeding us and the biomimicry of everything that surrounds us and how deeply vital it is and the belonging, that we are really belonging to all of those things, right? And so that was really interesting. Also want to talk to you about the whale print. That's up here. It's a humpback whale, and it was it died just this last November. It's a print about a whale that starved. It died of starvation. So it's a really important piece for climate change. So witnessing that is really important. I don't really have a lot else to say because it was such a rich and immersive emotional class. we learned a lot, but mostly we felt. So definitely make yourself familiar with Duncan Berry's work, by land, by sea, by air, and as a mixed indigenous person, one of the things that I teach business, and so I'm very immersed in food system. The opposite of branding is mark making. And I really got that deep feeling about Duncan Berry's work and the mark making, that's really so important for our time. It's really marking in time where our climate is and how important this bioregion is to all of our survival and our living. So thank you.
Thank you. What is it? Packaged goods, maybe something about microprocessing. I'm not sure where that conversation went, but who wants to come up and talk about the Astoria packaging? I see a port. Cool.
Okay, so yeah, we ended up combining groups. And what I want to start out with is just there was a lot of synergy at our table. And I signed up for what we ultimately called it the Coos Bay Blue Campus. But what we found interesting was we had representation from Astoria and Newport and Coos Bay, of course. And there was a lot of commonality and ideas. And it was sort of creating places of aggregation in business. And ultimately, we continue to talk about Coos Bay because there's a really unique opportunity here. There's a property that's 167 acres. It's an old, and I'm looking at my table, keep me honest. It's an old Georgia Pacific mill, and currently it's owned by the port, and they're looking to sell it. And 160 acres, what a great opportunity. So where our conversation went is what would that model look like? Obviously, it would be a capital campaign if you were going to build out a campus. And how would you structure that? I mean, the good news for them, it's already a public-private partnership. The tribe is involved, the port's involved, there's other interested parties at the table. Do you lease from the port? Do you buy from the port? How do you create pro rata structures so that everybody can come to this campus and have the resources and be their best and continue to create regenerative economies in the region? And I think that we just have a lot of really great ideas. And again, we talked about the structural makeup. What does that look like? Who would the players be? What are the resources? And again, who manages it? And I think that's kind of the next steps. There's a lot of considerations, but there's a huge opportunity for that region. Thanks.
Thank you. Kristen, or I could go back to Susie. Anybody out there? Kristen, will you tell people, now that we have all of these notes from these great conversations and we want to bring them forward, what are our next steps? Is somebody going to share these notes out? How are we connecting all this information and work that we just did to the future? Okay, I'm going to pass the mic over to my colleague, my friend, John Bonkowski. I had a bio ready for you, John, and I don't know where I put it. So this being, I'm just going to let you take it away and introduce yourself on this one. Is that all right?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you. Thank you, Tyson. Thanks, everybody, for being here. I'm John Bonkowski. I'm the Vice President of Coastal Communities and Fisheries at EcoTrust. I've been with EcoTrust for 20 years. Some of you may know me, some of you may have never heard of me, and that's okay, either way. I lead a team from California up to Alaska focused on fisheries, mariculture, and food systems, looking to work with communities to build the future we're looking for, the economy we want, one that transforms into more resilient approaches. So we're trying to really push that forward. And I heard a lot of really wonderful things today, and I was really excited to be in conversation with all of you. So, but before I kind of help close us out, everybody, let's get up on our feet. We're going to take just 1 second. We're going to do a little breathing. Come on, we're going to breathe. We're going to finish off the day. All right, we got some more thinking, a little bit of thinking. We're going to stretch. So everybody take a deep breath in. Breathe. Breathe out. As you're able, stretch, touch your toes, twist your trunk. Whatever you need, kind of start thinking, because we're going to think now. We're going to transition from what we've heard today, right? We've heard a lot of awesome things. Raise your hand if you met someone new today. Did you meet someone new? Raise your hand or keep your hand raised if you learned something. Did you learn something today? Okay. So as you walk out of this building today, you're going to look across the street and you're going to see a sign that says, hey, you're part of it. And that's right, because you are part of it, right? That's what's happening. We're building something here. We're building the future we want. So I think I heard lots of awesome things, but one thing I always walk away from a conference from is like, okay, awesome. I feel energized. I feel like I learned something. But what do I do now? Where do I go now? I heard Chef Kim this morning talk about learning to run before you walk, right? I think that might be kind of where we are a little bit. We have to think about what is the next step. What we do next is more important maybe than what happened today. And that's the future we need to keep thinking about. So we're going to close out some of this time right now with a little exercise called asks and offers. So think for a moment to yourself, what would you ask this group? If you had an opportunity to ask this group to do something, what would you ask this group? If you have something you can offer this group, what is it you would offer them? So for me, I would ask us to keep this momentum going. Think about where we're going next, to keep the energy you have now, and start thinking about what you can do individually. I will offer to convene people, to pull together, to do some fundraising, to take those steps together, to work collectively to have the impact we're trying to have. So my ask is that we stay strong and keep the momentum going. My offer is to help you do that, to facilitate that with you. So if you have an ask and offer, please start thinking about it. You can come up to the front of the room just like we did this morning with the business, Marketplace of Ideas. Now we're going to have a line that we're going to queue up over here, and we're going to do an ask and an offer. You don't have to have both. If you have one or the other, that's fine. But let's start thinking from the group. Let's ask each other for help. Let's think about how we stay connected. Come on up.
John, I also have an offer. Can I offer people to have a seat if you'd like?
Oh yeah, sorry. Take a seat. I'll offer you a seat. Nathan, go ahead.
Thanks, John. Hi, everybody. Nathan Phillips again. My offer is my extensive network of over 50 years in the food industry. And my ask is that you get a hold of me if there's something that network can do for you.
Awesome. Thank you, Nathan. Anybody else want to come up and do an ask and an offer? We have Rachel. Thank you, Rachel.
Hi.
Oh.
That's not on. Hi, I'm Rochelle Hackmack. I'm one of the Winter Waters co-founders. I ask and offer you to definitely stay through the Hope in the Water screening with happy hour from Narrow. If anyone was here yesterday and had their Albacore bike, you know their food is incredible. Do not leave.
Okay, thank you very much. Here we go. We have Bob coming up with an ask and an offer. Who's next? Let's go. Let's get some line up here, folks. We got lots of things to ask. We've got lots of offers to make.
As far as the ask, I think it'd be great. I mean, so many people in here with so many different resources and information and opportunities that if it was possible to get contact information for everybody and kind of a simple 2-3 sentence paragraph about what your ask and offer might be to the group, that would be terrific. I think it'd be great to have everybody's contact info here.
Yes, all right, contact list, perfect, thank you.
Hi, I'm Darlene Kalafi from Local Ocean Seafoods again. I am in the process of building my small business with retail packaged products. So if you can help me with placement with retailers or supply throughout Oregon or the Pacific Northwest, that is my ask. And if you are also a small scale producer navigating, building, and scaling your business, I can offer you my experience and what the resources have helped me so far.
Thank you so much, that's great. Some additional asks and offers from the group. Here we go, we have Nick. Thank you, Nick.
I'm Nick with the Reclaim Cooperative, and my ask would be if you are a producer of any kind of, anything, and you have a side stream, I'd just like to know about it at least, but we're very interested in looking at all different kinds of materials, both as textile or ornamental aesthetic things, but also as a useful resource maybe in fertilizer. And my offer would be that if you're in Corvallis or the Kings Valley area, free tour on me. We'll let you come look at the yaks and see what we're up to. And you can reach out. If you look up Corvallis Yaks or the Reclaim Cooperative, our businesses come up.
Excellent, thank you so much. We have some more, all right. Some more brave folks coming up. Thank you.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Daisy. I'm from New Seasons Market, and I'm a seafood buyer for the company. My ask is, however many times you're eating seafood in the week, add one more seafood meal to your week, and also encourage those around you, because I'm sure we're all eating seafood quite a bit here. But encourage those around you to add one more seafood meal to their weekly lineup. And my offer is something that I think we can all offer, is just some ideas on how to cook seafood, or don't cook seafood at home. But making seafood at home is the most important thing. So I've got lots of recipe ideas and different seafood items, and I want everyone to eat more seafood. Thank you.
Excellent, thank you, Daisy. All right.
You don't know my name because I don't have a name tag. This is an unauthorized ask and an offer. I did not ask my wife permission to get up here and speak. It's very dangerous when I have a microphone. My ask is, if you are a small producer of seafood, fresh, whole seafood, and you want to come to Klatskanai and do a seafood pop-up where we celebrate you and your presence, and you sell out of all of the seafood
Thank you very much. Awesome. Good ask and offer. We all need help. Let's see how we can help each other. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Amy Sharp. I'm a commercial fisherwoman out of Asteroid, Oregon on fishing vessel Sprinklers Lander. My fisheries are salmon and albacore tuna primarily. I also get the joy of doing some crabbing. I'm also the president of FishNerd, Columbia Pacific Community Alliance. We are a grassroots organization of women that serves our local commercial fishermen, families, and community. Last year, we had a commercial fishermen's appreciation lunch. At that lunch, we were able to give 150 life jackets out to the commercial fishermen. We were also able to provide survival suit testing. Fishermen brought in their survival suits. We were able to determine whether they were still good, if they were defective or expired. We were able to get 50 new survival suits out to the fleet, and we were able to get even more defective and expired survival suits away from the fleet. We were also able to get some commercial fishing licenses to those crewmen and captains that still needed theirs. We take it very personal, the safety of our fleet, and we are working diligently to help change the safety culture for our fishermen. This is the most dangerous occupation in the United States. So I have an opportunity for you. My ask is that you take a time to really invest in helping change the safety culture by empowering FishHerd to do that work for you through this upcoming Commercial Fishermen's Appreciation Lunch. We have a sponsorship opportunity. There's 3 levels of sponsorship: $500, $250, and only $100. That's an opportunity for you to get your company's logo or name on 200 t-shirts that are going to be passed out for free to the fleet. So, we're going to be funding that lunch with the sponsorship opportunity, and any additional funds are going to go towards us getting safety equipment, life-saving equipment out to the fleet. So if you're interested, you can come find me. I can send you with a packet like this. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Safety first. Appreciate it. Tom.
Sign me up. I'm serious. I'm back with an ask, which is, I probably saw it on the slide, but I'm asking you all to join the Oregon Cup Alliance mailing list. You can go to OregonCup.com and you can sign up for our mailing list, and the offer is you'll learn what we're up to. You'll get regular updates from OreCup on what's going on in their kelp forest and what we're doing about it. And my other offer is I want to sponsor your thing because that's a huge issue in fisheries. We need to change that culture. We need to get more life-saving equipment on our people. And my other ask is that you follow me on Substack. I'm Salty Tom on Substack. For salty takes on fish and fishermen and fishing and all kinds of things fishy.
Nice. Thanks, Tom.
Urchin Fest, that's the other offer. Urchin Fest coming to a coastal community near you. Look for it.
How do I go after Urchin Fest? Again, I'm Judith from the Global Impact Collective, and I've heard a lot of conversations about bringing groups together and ocean clusters and a lot of those things. And our bread and butter at the Global Impact Collective is around this idea of collective action and partnerships. And so if anyone's looking for a thought partner, you're bringing a group together, you want to do a working session, or you want to do a workshop, whether something small or something bigger, I'm happy to help you think it through and what those logistics would look like. Or if you're looking to do something bigger, we're happy to help you out with that. So Judith, Tiny, wherever.
Thank you, Judith. Good job. Go ahead.
Hello again, everyone. I'm Christopher, working with the Reconnect Co-op in Hazelton Farms. My ask is just, if you are a chef, if you're a producer, if you're working in policy, if you're a researcher, I'd ask that you please engage with us. We have a vision of trying to turn the farm that we have out in Kings Valley into this living laboratory, and we're eager to do research experiments, to do tours. I'm curating a farm-to-table dinner series. I'd love, to engage with as many of you as possible. And in turn, the offer is just mirroring what Nick said. Please come out to the farm. Come meet us. Come see the animals. Come see your working landscape. And really what we can do with 50 acres off the Lukey River. So thank y'all.
Excellent.
fun stops with snacks. Definitely encourage you to stop by the Central Coast Food Web Table and check out the flyer. And if you need something to eat Saturday, come on down to Newport and hang out with us. Hope to see you there. Hey everybody, Laura again, and I am asking those who are curious to pick up one of these cards at the local ocean table and scan the QR code and sign up to get updates. We've got a really cool thing that's going to launch in late spring of this year. We're a trust ownership, and that's kind of a cool thing. It's a whole new frontier for business, and we're going to be inviting a small circle of new founders. I was the original founder, but my time is expiring. So if you want to be a founder of the new Local Ocean Seafoods and have deeper engagement and curated experiences and really help bolster the future of our beloved restaurant, then pick one of these up for more info. My offer is, if you're interested in what purpose ownership or trust ownership is, I offer you Tony Bixler as an excellent resource to talk to you all about it, and I will be right by his side. We will be happy to talk to anybody about that.
Excellent. Thank you, Laura.
I'm Oriana Poindexter. I'm the artist that has the blue stand-type panels around here. It's been an honor to have my work be a backdrop for all the conversations yesterday and today. I have kind of a combo of ask and offer. I love collaborating with producers and creative folks like you to make large-scale work. So if you have an interesting product and you want to collaborate with an artist, I'd love to get in touch and make some really interesting, unique storytelling work together. So you can find me at the table kind of in the back of the bar.
Thank you.
Hi friends, Destiny again. All right, so my offer is everybody gets a free drink ticket to enjoy at the bar. As well, we have a winemaker that's going to be showing up, Sarah Cabot from Battle Creek Cellars. So I offer you a free drink, and my ask is that you come get a wristband. If you're over 21, let me check your ID and tag you and drink you. Cheers.
Excellent. Great offer. Any other asks and offers? Anyone else feeling bold? Okay, well, I believe one of the things that will be coming out will be a contact list and some ways of staying in touch. Thought that was a great ask and a great suggestion. So there will be other opportunities to connect, and hopefully if you do see someone in the room or want to connect with somebody, there'll be more time to do that just on an individual basis. So make sure you do that. I think really important to remember, like, we don't do this alone, right? We don't make it further than we've made it already without getting together and trying to do this collectively and work moving forward. I think we have to also, scale a little bit about what we're thinking about. Got to think about, is it a third base problem or are we at bat? I think right now we're up to bat. We got to get ourselves onto third base with some of the things we're thinking about. But I think there's a lot of excellent work and energy being done, and together we're going to go so much farther. We're going to hit those home runs and we're going to make it happen. So I'm really excited to be here. Remember, you're part of it. So it's all of us working together. And I appreciate everyone's enthusiasm and efforts today. Thanks so much.
And with that, I believe we are going to bring...
Correct, yes, sorry. Julie Kushepatov, is coming up to the stage and is going to be talking about the next. So thank you so much, Julie.
All right, yeah, you're welcome. So thank you. I think we're a little early, so this is a good thing for us. I'm going to take all the time I need. I don't need a lot of time. I've been asked a little bit last minute to do this, so I'm going to read some notes. But we are transitioning into the Hope in the Water screening and happy hour. I'm very good friends with Jennifer Bushman, who is the executive director of Fed by Blue, which produced Hope in the Water series on PBS. And I'm not sure if many of you or any of you have seen it yet, but it's truly a fantastic series that really does focus on hope in the water and telling the stories of people, mostly in the US, but around the world. So it's going to be exciting to look at that. The bar is opening now, as we just heard, and the screening's gonna begin. Oh, sorry, the bar is not opening, my bad. Okay. So we have some time to mingle and hang out while the chefs are preparing and the bar is opening, and I think there will be a separate announcement about when that's open, right? Someone will let us know.
I can do that.
Okay, Tyson will let us know. Just a quick background on the Hope in the Water one more time. It's a PBS series from Emmy Award-winning producer Andrew Zimmern. You might know him as the what was it, Strange Foods guy on. He had a TV show about strange foods or odd foods. And in collaboration with multi-award winner and storytelling visionary David E. Kelly. So Hope in the Water. Oh, also he's Michelle Pfeiffer's husband. If you know that. So just a little sidebar. Hope in the Water explores the groundbreaking work of dedicated fishers, aqua farmers, and scientists who are attempting what was once thought impossible, harvesting aquatic species to feed our growing planet while saving our oceans. So this short screening is 17 minutes, and it offers a highlight reel of the series and sets the tone for our final panel of the day, which I will lead with my esteemed panelists, which I'll introduce once we have screened it. And it's just going to be kind of a great closure of the day, and I think really wrap up some themes to take us to kind of to lead us through the momentum that we've kind of generated today. How's that sound?
Yeah, that all sounds really amazing. So the next steps for everybody is find the people that you didn't talk to today that you've been wanting to talk to, spend time getting to know them, networking. Also, find that lovely lady that was up here that's like, I've got a drink ticket and a bracelet. Make sure you grab one of those. And the drinks will become available pretty soon. I'll make an announcement when they are. Hope is that right about 4 o'clock, we'll kick off the film screening and have the panel directly afterwards. So that's kind of our directive. We're gearing down, but gearing into deeper conversation as well with each other. And just